Error occurred. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Bollocks to it. We're going to jump straight in. We're going right in. Music's not working. I think we are live. We're gonna go for it. Live. Gonna kill all this nonsense and hopefully bring it on. Where are we? There we are. Hello. Let me just end all this crap in the background. We are live. Dan, we're gonna pop you on in a second. Won't let me unmute you. Denver.
I'll do it myself. No worries.
There we go. We are live. Can't unmute your guests because they can't. Okay. We're here back for our first podcast in a long time. I'm joined by three of the Roverseas mafioso, of course, stretched all over the UK. We have one in Wales, Denver. That's right. Yes. Jacob on the perimeter of where actually are you?
Darwin. So I'm on the border.
Darwin. Lewis in the heartbeat, right?
Yeah, Blackburn, me.
There we go. So we're here, of course, talking about the recent run of events. In fact, it's been a really good season for Rovers on the grand scheme of things. Unfortunately, we come into this podcast on the back of a bit of a whimper yesterday. I don't know if you guys managed to see or at least see the highlights, but not the greatest return from the international break. But hey, it's there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. I think, like what you guys said earlier in the build-up here to this season. But anyway, let's go around the room. Of course, start with Lewis, and of course, talk about maybe the last couple of games, maybe the Birmingham City game. Get your take on Rovers, and we'll take it from there. So, Lewis, how are you feeling after yesterday?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed, in all honesty, because if you're looking at our fixtures coming up, Birmingham's one of them teams where you think you should be getting at least 3 points. You shouldn't be losing away to Birmingham. No credit due to Birmingham, though. The red-eye game plan, they let us have much of the ball in the second half after we scored and just kept us out at game. I think not signing a number 9 in January has cost us because I think with a goal scorer, with a couple of them chances we created, we probably could have won the game. But it was just disappointing overall because we had enough chances to win the game, but we just couldn't take them. And all results went in our favour yesterday as well. So it's really disappointing to get a loss against them.
Yeah, indeed, it wasn't great yesterday. But and again, I had high hopes. Birmingham are one of those sticky kind of teams, and we have played them 4 times in total this season. So it was a familiar territory. Denver, did you manage to catch any of the highlights?
I watched as much as I could. I didn't really watch too much because I was just come back from coaching. But what I saw was quick start. Like we came out the blocks. No real clear-cut chances, but we looked all right, to be fair. And listening up on like what JDT had to say after the game, it was more of a case of like should have won the game, but didn't. We didn't put our chances away. But I'm sure Lewis and Jacob will say more about it because I'm assuming they've watched it. But from what I saw, the bits that I saw, it was a scrappy game. We had a few good chances and just didn't put them away, unfortunately. And it had to be Redicadra, of course, who scored the winner, just to rub it in.
He is boiling my blood. He's been boiling my blood since the start of the season with his Sheffield United move and his comments and all that kind of stuff. And some people on Twitter were saying, give him a break or whatever. But he boils my blood, and I didn't think he was going to score yesterday. I saw him take a free kick, and I was thinking, who does he think he is? But Jacob, what's your take on Birmingham City result and our performance heading into this big weekend of Easter games?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't actually catch the game. One of the few I've actually missed this season. But in terms of the result, I mean, like Lewis said, it's one you looked at with this. We've got a really hard run in. You look at the teams we've got left. We've got Preston, Burnley, Millwall, Luton, Coventry. Some really hard games there. And this was one of the games where playing against has nothing to play for really at this point. They're not making the playoffs. They're not going down. And like's been said, this was the fourth time we're playing him. And, we beat him twice out of those 4 times. And unfortunately, yesterday just wasn't our day. But to be honest, I think a case can be made that when they rocked up to Ewood, they deserved more than they got. So maybe it's kind of just that they got the win yesterday. But yeah, it's not ideal when, like I said, we're heading into such hard fixtures now. So hopefully we can just bounce back and get back to winning ways.
Yeah. I this part of I did look at the run in here. Like we'll look at it a little bit more detail later on, but I did look at the run in, and this part I think it seems to split right down the middle for me. These first 4 or 5 games I would put in the bracket of winnable. And then the back end with the Burnleys, even the Prestons and the Millwalls, Luton, so much humongous games and a lot of points on offer. But yeah, I think this one's an opportunity miss for Rovers heading into a big Easter weekend, which I'm looking forward to. The Norwich game, massive, because they are on the break. They're on the perimeter of the playoffs, and of course a win over them could extend the gap. But we'll see about that. Denver, what is your make or actually Lewis? We'll go Lewis, back to Lewis. I'll put you on the spot here. Big Easter weekend coming up with Norwich and Huddersfield. Both I think are on Sky, and at least the Norwich game is at Ewood Park. Heading into those games, what are your hopes and expectations for Rovers?
Well, I think Norwich one is going to be a very tough game because they're the team who I think it's 4 points off us. So it's a big game, and I've just got a feeling there's going to be a few goals in it. But our home record speaks for itself. It's second best in the league. We're really good at home. So I will predict us to win that. I'm hoping we do anyway. But we usually do struggle against Norwich in past few seasons. But this season, I think we've beaten both times, one in Cup and away this season. So I'm hoping we can get the 3 points. But it is a big game. So they will be up for it as well. So it will be much of a challenge. Same can be said for Huddersfield. They're fighting to stay up. They've got Neil Warnock as manager now, and he's a bit of a shithouse. So he knows how to grind out results. So that one's a tough away game, especially away as well. But I'll be happy if we get 3 or 4 points from them 2 games. I'm not going to think we're going to win them both because they're both challenging games. But I'll be happy with winning one and drawing one. So I think we'll get 3 or 4 points myself with them games.
All right, Denver, over to you on this one. Your mic is muted. You're on it. You're on it. Of course, Norwich, the bigger one of the 2, but Huddersfield just turned over Middlesbrough. Was it? It might even been at Riverside. I'm not sure if it was at Riverside or not, but 4-2. They showed that there is a fight left in that Huddersfield team, who are trying to avoid the drop, but they're in the relegation zone. So, you might look at the Norwich game as the more difficult, but Huddersfield are fighting.
Hey, well, it's always this time of the season. It's you don't take the bottom half but that they're going to put up a fight and they're not going to make it easy. I remember when we were in that area, we were winning loads of games. It's usually the case. Normally, this time at the end of the season, you want to be playing in the middle pack. They're the ones that got nothing to play for, not really the ones challenging or at the bottom three. But again, with the Huddersfield, you got to remember, like, a year ago they were in the playoffs, so they're not an utterly useless team. They can definitely play football. They've just been really poor this season. So, but we definitely know that. Look, the right manager, Neil Warnock, of course, he come in and he'll do a job, won't he? And there's always that, new manager bounce that always happens, and it seems to always happen. We always seem to play the teams that always have new managers. It seems, QPR and the Hull last year. But anyway, it'll always be a tough game with any team, regardless at the bottom half of the table trying to survive. They'll try and do anything to win. But again, with Norwich, of course, they'll see this as an opportunity to try and close that gap into the playoffs. But I'm quite confident. I say quite confident, but we've not played poorly for a while. I think some key players like Schmodix and that have stepped up and really performed recently. And the team hasn't looked poor. I remember middle of January, I remember going to watch games and thinking, why am I wasting an hour and 20 minutes driving up here to watch this? And the only good excuse was to see the family. But recently we've started playing really well. I think, what game was it? I want to say it was the Leicester City game really made me think, wow, okay, you know what, we're actually playing really well here. And then the last game I went to, the last win we had was against Reading. And again, even that game, we weren't amazing, but we were the better team. And looking at the next two games, we've lost two now in a row, one in the cup and one now in the league, and it's just about calming down. And I think we've got it. We didn't play bad from what I saw. We weren't awful against Birmingham, so hopefully two wins. But this Blackburn.
I can confirm. I thought we played a decent. Birmingham did have a good chance in the first half at the post. I thought a draw would have been fair, if I'm honest with you. I didn't think we deserved the win. And at the start, I did have a gut feeling that this game, the Birmingham game, would be a sticky one. Just wanted to have that feel. So Jacob, out of the two on the Easter weekend, what do you think is the more difficult, the Norwich or the Huddersfield?
It's a good question. That, I mean, I'd probably say Huddersfield's going to be a little bit harder just because it's away. We've got a terrible record at that ground, to be honest with you. I couldn't tell you the last time we won there. In truth, might be when Jordan Rhodes went there, hat trick.
No Sorba Thomas as well for that game.
Yeah, obviously no Sorba Thomas, who has been absolutely brilliant since he's come in, and arguably could have been the best player in the time he's been here, to be honest with you. He's only had probably one bad game. But yeah, Norwich, obviously we've beaten twice on the road, as Lewis mentioned, one in the cup, one in the league. So I've got to say, at home, I do fancy us. It is a must win after that Birmingham result to keep Norwich away from us. Feel like if we were to lose that game at home, it would be a massive blow, and I feel like it could really kill the players' confidence and just get that kind of bottling mentality in their heads, which we really don't need. I think fans would maybe start to turn a little bit if we weren't to beat Norwich. They won't travel in massive numbers, I would think, with how far of a journey it is. It's probably the hardest journeys for him, but obviously it is Easter Friday, Good Friday rather. So, but yeah, in terms of that Huddersfield game, it's just sticky fixture. Obviously, they've just gone and beat Middlesbrough, which I couldn't see happening with the type of form they're in. But they've gone and done it. They've got Neil Warnock, who's almost like a specialist at just teams. Did it with Rotherham, didn't he, a few years back? And yeah, they'll be well up for it, won't they? And it's quite. There's a bit of a rivalry there for sure. I was in the away end last season when we played, and it were a really good game, 3-2. And yeah, it's gonna be an atmosphere for sure. We've just got to hope. I think, like Lewis said, we get these points from these two. Got to win one of them.
Yep, definitely got to take 3 points at least. I'm going to chuck. I'm playing around with these comments now. Slick. James Dean's come in here. Said not the real James. Well, he is a real James Dean. Says if Rovers don't make playoffs, it will be painful. That is correct. It would be a massive bottle job. Hopefully, we thought Mowbray had taken the bottle jobness with him to Sunderland, and it was a new era, and it hopefully still is a new era. Because we just got off the back of a fantastic FA Cup run, and despite crashing out of the FA Cup, I thought we played really well. And again, because of the nightmares, maybe the last 10 years, I always had a gut feeling that we weren't going to do it, even when we were taking the lead twice in that game. I always, and I want to get rid of it. I think if we can make playoffs this season, that should eradicate or at least go to some way to changing the mentalities of us long-standing Rovers fans who have been through the mill for the past 10 years, seeing us kind of, just not do it or, crack out from February onwards. But Lewis, back to you on that FA Cup run. I'm going to transition into that. I'm not sure. I know you've had some trouble just trying to get back into the games recently for one way or another. But hopefully you managed to catch the game live on the TV. And maybe even recollect on that cup run itself. What's your takeaway from our journey in the oldest cup competition in the world?
I actually went to every cup game this season, the away games as well. So it were nice for us to actually go on a bit of a journey, because the past few seasons we've been getting beat quite early rounds under Mowbray I think we got beat by Morecambe and some other teams like that. But I'm actually at the Sheffield United game, and the atmosphere by the fans were absolutely incredible. One of the best atmospheres I've probably witnessed as going as a Rovers fan, to sell out as well, to get behind them, and it were good. And you could actually feel like we were going to do it, but then as soon as we made them substitutions and went 5 back after having so good momentum, we were going on looking like we were going to score a third. But then with edges hitting post, it just didn't go our way. Then he brings on, I think it was Wharton and Britton didn't look up for it. Got bullied off the ball for second goal off McBurney, and it was a good finish into the corner. But then we looked like we were going to score again, created a few chances, we were unlucky. Their keeper made some really good saves that game. And then it got to 90th minute and Tyler Morton goes down. Embarrassing, really. It's so embarrassing, the way he went down. So frustrating. And then their player, who I was telling my mates to watch out for, Tommy Doyle, on loan from Man City, scores a wonder goal. You can't take away the strike from it, but Morton going down, giving an A-star performance, give him an Oscar for diving. Bloody ridiculous. Costing us the game. It really frustrated us. I remember, I think straight away after the goal, Morton and Smodic come off and walked past the away fans, people clapping Smodic. As soon as Morton come past, it just went silent, because I think a lot of people knew he cost us that game. But overall, it were a really good cup run. I think the boys did excellent not to go to Wembley. I think it was just heartbreaking to witness it, especially at such a late point during the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I was watching from over here, of course, in the US, third party, unbiased commentary for a change. And they were bigging up Rovers. They were saying how good we played, and it was a classic FA Cup for the neutrals. They had everything. Penalty. Yeah. Was there a red card? I can't remember if there was a red card, but
no, I think you're thinking of the United game there.
Oh, there, right. But and at last, and a goal to worthy of winning it. You can't discredit that goal. It was a banger. It was a peach. Denver, you managed to catch the game at all?
Yeah, I was actually in Blackburn for that game on Mother's Day. I watched the game, and the whole lead up to it, it was just like I was getting, 2012, 13 vibes of, we beat a Premier League side, we beat an Arsenal, and we lose to a Millwall. I could just see the same thing happening again here. And yeah, we played really well. At the end of the day, I remember everyone slating Thomas for it, but at the end of the day, he's also like, as a coach, I always use this reference, but as a coach myself, it's like, you're going to make mistakes. And how many times do we see teams do that? And if it worked, you think, Ray made the right decision. And but I remember I was watching again, I was thinking Tyler Morton really looked like off. Just he's so tired. You could tell he wasn't chasing the ball down towards the end, and that substitute came way too late anyway. And it was before the whole incident with him going down or whatever. I think you could see his body language. He was just that substitute needed to happen soon, and Thomason didn't read that. Look, you live and you learn, right? As a team, we'll grow from it. As a coach, Thomason will go from it and grow from it even. And I can't fault the effort, and the boys play really well. And look, a wonder goal. At the same time, referee wise, head injury. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately it was soft, but if head injuries, the rules are rules, right? But it was a great goal to seal it, and you can't be really annoyed with a finish like that, can you? But look. We scored how many goals? Sam Gallagher scored, didn't he? An own goal. It's just one of them days, isn't it? Same with Birmingham. But look, proud of the lads. But especially after Mowbray's disastrous FA Cup runs. I remember one of the days. I remember going through them like it was. You got Wigan getting knocked out at Wigan, getting knocked out by Hull. I think it was one year as well, and Birmingham another year. And it was just like. Horrendous. So it was a good change.
Yeah, it was a refreshing. Just want to big you up here. Luke Carroll's watching. Don't know if you know him. He says Denver Green's ball knowledge. He's giving you a bit of a boost there. Jacob, you made it. You did a vlog and everything. You managed to capture at least the good bits of Rovers, but quickly forgot the bad bits. But what's your takeaway from Bramall Lane and the FA Cup heartbreak?
Yeah, my takeaway from Bramall Lane is I don't think I'll ever be going again. I've been 3 times in the past 12 months and I've left depressed each and every time. Obviously, read a cadre, then I've got absolutely bullied at the start of the season in the league, and then obviously just the absolute heartbreak of the FA Cup there. What a journey though from the lads, and yeah, it was just nice to actually have a cup run like it's been mentioned. We didn't actually have one at all under Mowbray. The last time we had a cup run was under Coyle, what says a lot about Mowbray's cup runs when that idiot managed to get us to, the last 16. Obviously, the game against Man United, but that's how far we've been starved of just a cup run, which I think has helped build some momentum around the team, fight for places, like your younger players. It's been good for them to come through and bleed them in as well. Like your Hayden Carters and whatnot. If he weren't getting that game time in the Cups, he might not be in the first team right now, performing the way he is. And he looks some player right now, doesn't he, Hayden Carter? Yeah, but I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise for us to get to Wembley after all these years of never making it to the new Wembley, and for us to probably get pumped by Man City if we were to get there. Wouldn't have been the nicest, I suppose. So could be a blessing in disguise. But yeah, what a game for the neutral. I had so many messages saying, brilliant game, unlucky, this, that, and the other. I think both teams could have said on the day they deserved to win. And obviously, it just went Sheffield United's way. I agree I think the changes were the wrong changes. I think they were made out of fear. And I think it was kind of just like, we've got, 10 minutes left. We're just going to sit behind the ball now. We're away from home. We're winning. We just need to cling on. But we look comfortable. Costello had McBurney in his pocket the entire game. And as soon as he comes off and we change that system, he goes and scores. I feel like they were just made for making him just to kind of show that he was, I don't know, trying to be proactive. And then, yeah, obviously with Tyler Morton, he plays himself into trouble. and basically goes with the cheap way out, trying to act like he's got a head injury after he's played himself into trouble. He knew he'd fucked up. So, and as soon as he lost the ball like that, you just kind of knew they were going to go and score. You just had that sick feeling in your stomach after he'd gone and done that. So yeah, heartbreaking, but we'll learn from it hopefully. And I was hoping we'd obviously bounce back after such a hard result, but we haven't, unfortunately, against Birmingham. So I'm just hoping it hasn't killed our season and it can make it.
Yeah. The bone of contention in that appears to be Tyler Morton, and he could be blamed or at least one of the causes for our FA Cup exit, which of course is a good segue because he of course bosses a part of the midfield which could have been occupied by a Lewis O'Brien, of course, who is a fantastic championship player who was pretty much, they were ironing in his shirt, the blue and white halves. It was getting ready. They're putting it on his name on the back with the letters and everything. But of course, he's now over with me. We're going for a cup of tea in a minute. He's down DC United, actually with Wayne Rooney. He's over there right now. So Lewis, of course, not the O'Brien, but our Lewis. What's your take on the shenanigans that led to the collapse of probably what would have been an absolute stellar transfer bit of business for Rovers, because he would have been playing that FA Cup game in place, unless it was cup tied, but he would have been playing probably in place of Tyler Morton, I feel, because Buckley is out. We don't have many options, so from one Lewis to another.
Yeah, I think it's a bad situation by both clubs to not get the deal over the line. You've got to feel bad for the player because he had a couple of months not playing, then he's now moved over to MLS with a buy option as well. So they could buy him and we might not get him in the summertime. So it's a bit of a ball ache. But a player like Lewis O'Brien, to come into our team, he would offer so much creativity and he would suit coming into our team, helping our attackers out because he's got great vision. I think he was one of the top assisters last year when he were under Huddersfield. Then he got his move to Nottingham Forest, and even in the Premier League when they first started, he was one of their better players. But due to Forest signing like 100 players, spending all the money, he didn't get a second look in. And then it all got to January, and then some stupid paperwork didn't get filled out, and then we end up not winning the appeal, and he ends up not playing football for a few months. So it's just a really bad situation. It's really shit not to get it done and dusted over the line, because with a player like him coming to our squad, I think playoffs would have been guaranteed. I mean, we're in a playoffs position now, but we're a bit shaky at the minute. But with a player like him, he would have created a lot more chances for us, and then maybe we could have got a few more wins and grinded out results better, because when a player like him, when he's under pressure, he knows how to play a pass. Otherwise, we've got Morton, who, when he's under pressure, he just loses the ball quite a lot. So he would have been slotted straight into our team for me. So it's very disappointing to not get that deal done.
Yeah, indeed. Denver, of course, from a coach's point of view, what's your take on the missed potential for Rovers picking up this A-grade signing?
It's we're not the first club to have done it, and I'm sure we're not the last. But look, the way Steve Cooper went about it and blatantly attacked Rovers for the the paperwork not being completed. Look, how many it was? They left it us till the last day of the transfer deadline, so it's like I'm sure we would have wanted him in a lot sooner, but leaving it to last minute. Look, I'm not saying that not filling out the correct paperwork in time, whatever. It's ultimately down to the club's fault, isn't it? And I feel sorry for the player who's missed out on so much football in the meantime and having to train for Forest and not being able to play due to their loans and everything that they brought in. So yeah, it is a bit of a it's hard to say how well he would have done for the club. I know Lewis was saying how much of a good player he would have been, but because you never know. With some players are fantastic somewhere, and then they could be. But you still would have loved that option, wouldn't you? In the club, in that midfield, especially likes of look, Morton. He's a great player. He plays great, great balls and whatever. But he is weak on the ball, and maybe some with a bit of O'Brien's experience of the Championship and playing at this level, and. Look, he's good enough to play for Forest in the was at one point when Forest won a main man before they signed all these other players. Is a huge loss. But again, all this blame that Steve Cooper coming out, it was just so unnecessary. You didn't need to come out with all that rubbish, like from a coach, but it's just so unnecessary. Look, of course, the deal hasn't gone through, and it is sad seeing him training on his own or whatever. But it goes both ways. Both clubs messed up in the deal, and unfortunately he was missing out game time. But it's one of them where look, we would love to have had him. You never know what it could have done for us in the FA Cup run or in the league with the last remaining games. But you've just got to deal with the cards you're given, and hopefully we've got enough in the tank to get us over the line.
Yeah, but I still think, considering of course, with 2020 vision or looking back on the state of midfield, no Buckley now. We're pinning our hopes on Morton, who's probably put a bit of a wedge between himself and the fans now with the the FA Cup fiasco. Jacob, what's your take on all of that business?
I think it looked really amateurish from the club, to be honest. We've brought in all this new backroom staff with Greg Broughton and whatnot to deal with this side of things, and JDT's got nothing to do with that. And it's the first proper transfer window they haven't got the excuse of they've only just got the feet under the table, and it just goes to pot. We end up signing Sober Thomas, who was brilliant, but even Thompson mentioned after the whole fiasco, we let 2 players out and we've only brought 1 in, and it just wasn't a very good look at all. And I don't think he was very happy with the situation. Obviously, I wouldn't blame the player for not wanting to come in the summer now, because it isn't a good look. But yeah, it's a real shame, because I feel like, as Lewis mentioned, I think he comes into this team and I think he instantly becomes one of our 3 best players from how he was last season anyway, if he replicated that form with us. And it's our weakest area of the pitch, midfield. It's just a good job Travis has hit form again, because if he hadn't hit form again, there wouldn't be a cat and hell's chance would be anywhere near the playoffs, if you ask me. It's been really poor for quite a bit of the season. When you go into Burnley away and you're having to play a kid like Jake Garrett in midfield because of how poor Travis was, it's not ideal. And then you're having to play kids like Morton and Buckley. Travis has had someone alongside him all season who hasn't been brilliant by any means. Buckley's had his spells and Morton's had his spells. Even Travis has had his spells himself. But having a bit of consistency with O'Brien, obviously now Buckley's out. If Morton or Travis were to get injured, we're snookered. If Jake Garrett's having to play week in, week out, starting games, there's not a chance we're making playoffs. He's quite simply not ready. And we're going to be heavily relying on Travis and Morton from now till the end of the season. And personally, I don't think Morton's ready for this level. He's still a boy. He's quite frail, isn't he? Once he builds out a little bit, he'll be more than ready. But for this physical league, and he's given the ball away at Wigan. He cost us the game there. He's cost us the game against Sheffield United. And in fairness, he did create that goal for Smodic. He was the one who won the ball back to give it to Gallagher. And then obviously Gallagher puts it through to Smodic. So you got to give credit where it's due. He has had good moments, and against Reading, wasn't it? He did brilliantly to get the ball and then give it to Gallagher with that back heel to Hedges. He's had moments, but for as many good moments, he's had bad moments as well, unfortunately, Morton.
Yes, indeed. So, of course, we're going to segue into something here because you did talk about the likes of Jake Garrett, and of course John Buckley has would have been probably remained in the squad if he hadn't got injured. But they are two of a bunch of players within the past 10 to 12 months that have signed new deals. But this is live stream, and I've got a curveball to throw at you here. Alex is on the road, and he's decided to just gate crash the podcast.
I need to clarify. I'm not driving right now.
Okay, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So talk to me about Rovers. Give us your short, sharp take, and then we'll let you get on the way.
Oh no, I can hang around. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry.
Okay. Well, you put a curveball in my thing. I've got all these graphics set up.
Unless you're trying to get rid of me, Dirk. Is that a hint?
I'm never going to get rid of you. But I hadn't planned on you being here. But you know what? I want to hear your short, sharp take on Rovers, Birmingham. Tell me all about your thoughts quickly.
Yeah, I finished work early. So, yeah, I'm happy with the everything in general regarding Rovers. What am I talking about? Apart from obviously not happy. I'm not happy about yesterday. I'm not happy about yesterday.
That's what we're talking about. Talk about yesterday and the FA Cup. So recently we've not been great.
No. So yesterday I caught some of the match on the sly, and it was it wasn't impressive, was it? Let's be honest. Obviously I looked at the stats. The stats do look good for Rovers, amazingly, but it's putting the ball in the back of the net. I mean, if I had any say in it, I'd be saying, look, they can do everything else adequately. I'd be just focusing on scoring goals the whole week, training now until the next game. That is the crucial thing for me, scoring goals. And we're not going to bring any other players in. We've got to work with what we've got. And that's what by hook or by crook, they got to be scoring goals. So they should just be working on that all week. If I was a trainer, that's what I'd be getting them on.
Okay, good stuff. So where are you right now, and can you get home anytime soon?
I'm in Shearwater, near Woking.
All right. Well, if you want to hang around, we'll gladly have you on here. But we're going to bring back full circle back to Lewis here. Of course, new contract.
I'm happy. I can stay about 3 hours in the car park. Then they security.
Then you'll get arrested.
The security. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, hang back. We'll bring you in the mix here. But we're going to go back on loop. Kicking off with Lewis once again, talking about the recent new contract developments for a lot of the youngsters. Hayden Carter, Scott Wharton being two of the standouts. What's your take on that bit of business?
Well, I think the business done so far is really good with the contract talks to get the likes of Hayden Carter and Wharton, both the Wharton brothers, to get them until another 4 years deal, I think, till 2027. I think that's a really good bit of business. But the main business I think we need to be doing is we need to tie Dak down because he's out of contract. I mean, yes, he's not had the best of seasons because he's had an injury, but when he has come on, he has looked good. So I think he needs another contract sorted. Same with Darwin. I've been seeing rumours on Twitter that he's next in line for negotiations. I think Darwin's a very promising young talent. I think we need to give him at least a 4 or 5 year deal, tie him down in case he does go on to move clubs, which if he keeps showing promise, I think if we've tied him down, we could make a bit of money on him if he was to go, because we are a selling club. That is what we are. I think the Diaz contracts, it's pretty likely that he's off to Villarreal. I think that Fabrizio Romano confirmed it. So if he goes, he goes. It's sad to see him on a free because we could have done with some money. But I think another contract we need to do, because Daniel Anawa is out. I know he is injured in a minute, but I think we should give him at least another year or two, because when he does play, it is very, very rare that he has a bad game. And him and Hyam created a really good partnership between them two. So I would probably give him at least another year or two. But I think the contract negotiations so far have been excellent. It's really good to get the contracts done early before leaving it too late, so no teams could perhaps persuade him to join them. So I think it's very good that we're getting it done early for a change.
Yes, indeed. One of the big ones for me, Ashley Phillips, what a young, promising guy could be. Spurs were linked with him. Of course, that deal was done a lot earlier in the season. But the past 10 days, we've seen Hayden Carter, Scotty Wharton, even some of the goalkeepers there. Jake Garrett, the most recent. Denver, what's your takes on the hot property or the young academies getting a welcome reward?
I think it reminds me of like FIFA, where you forget about all these contracts and you do them all at once. It's literally just like, why are these all happening at the same time? But look, it's great to see all our youngsters, especially through our academy, actually coming through, because these are the players that we want to give chances to. Look, they've been through the system and they know how the club works, and they've been around the place for God knows how long, and they know what it means, more so than other players coming in. So, like, the likes of these youngsters coming through, all these centre-backs and goalkeepers coming through, it is very, very promising. And fingers crossed they get into the team, do really well for us. And if we're still in the Championship, they have long contracts so we can sell them on. Or, if we go up and they might do really well for us in the Prem in the future and become a household name at the club. But, look, it's really good. A few other players that we'd like to get contracts down. I think Lewis mentioned Daniel Ayala. The only issue with Daniel Ayala, of course, is he's so injured, and it may be time for him to move on and maybe bring some of the like Ash Phillips and some of the youngsters through. But like I Dak, it's a tricky one, isn't it? With I think Dak's issue is more to do with game time. But the thing is, if he goes off to Sunderland or wherever he's linked with, and he gets injured there, it's going to be the same issue, right? So. Again, with Dak contract and thinking how fit is he going to be, and I would love to sign Dak because, of course, when he is fit, he's one of the best in the group still, and that was clearly seen previously. But still, a few other players we'd like to get contracts sorted. Ben Bridge and Dales we scraped upon. I think that one's done. I think with Villarreal, nothing clear cut. It's been confirmed, but then at the same time, it still keep going around. Like I just like to know if he is still or is he get it from the horse's mouth and see what's going on there. But yeah, it's great to see the youngsters are getting the chance to play for Blackburn Rovers. Really,
indeed. Jacob, what's your take on the or who's your standout contract renewal, or what are the recent ones anyway? It gives you the biggest buzz.
I'd say in terms of standout for renewal, it'd have to be Dolan. I think Dolan has the potential to leave us for a significant sum of money, at least 10 million, I'd say, in the next couple of years or so. Obviously young and English and such a tricky player. I'd touch on Ayala. I think the way Carter's been playing, I do question whether we give him another contract. Like Lewis mentioned, you can, at this moment in time anyway, you can guarantee he comes into the team and gives you a 7, 8 out of 10, which can't be sniffed at, to be fair. But it's just the fact that he is on 15k a week, which is one of our highest earners. And he's injured half the season. You can guarantee that as well. Which is a shame. But yeah, I don't think he'd be playing for us if he wasn't so injury prone, to be honest with you. I think personally I may look to move him on just to release that significant amount of wages we can get from him leaving, and try and give more game time to Ash Phillips next season. And Hayden Carter's looking the real deal, so I won't mind him even starting with Hyam next season, to be honest with you. I think he's got more to his game than Ayala does. His passing at times has been unbelievable as of late. But with Dak, that is a tricky one. I think just simply because of the whole thing with, is he JDT's cup of tea? I mean, for anyone, for any manager, he should be really. He gets your goals, but obviously he's brought Smodic in, which threatens Dak's position, and Smodic has been unbelievable as of late. Just his work ethic off the ball, but also he's providing the goals as well. And just quite simply doesn't have those legs like Smodic does. And obviously Thompson kind of wants that hard worker. And obviously Dak is another of the highest earners in the squad. I think he's on 15k too. I think if we were to give him a contract renewal, I'd maybe be a bit cheeky and try and dock his pay a little bit, maybe to like 10 grand or so, just simply because of how long he's been on that contract and wasn't actually playing for the club. You can kind of see it as like we're going to put your wages down a little bit. We'll offer you that loyalty to stay with us and whatnot, but you kind of show some back to us because obviously we've been paying you whilst you've been out for, the best part of 2-3 years. But yeah, in terms of the contract renewals, I'd probably say Adam Wharton one's the most exciting out of the lot. Obviously, I think he's got great potential as well to be playing in the Premier League in a few years' time. I like the Jake one. I think he can definitely be moulded into the next Travis, which I'm sure they are doing behind the scenes. And Scott Wharton's not a bad one either, but I do want Carter to be starting over him personally. I think Carter's just got more to his all-round game, and obviously another person who is, ready in line to step up, and Iola to probably moved on in the summer for me.
Yeah, Carter for me, it's even yesterday against Birmingham showed great qualities that you need in a centre back, and if he'd been fortunate to start the season in the squad, he could be considered one of the players of the season. Oh yes, we're moving on to that nicely. Going to throw in Alex here for his quick take on player of the season, Alex.
Oh, player of the season. Oh, sheesh. Player of the season so far. Probably. The pressure.
No pressure.
Are you sure?
What do you mean?
How much time have I got?
I'll come back to you. You think about it.
No.
Else.
All right, Dolan.
Dolan. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lewis, we'll go to you. Who's your take on player of the season, and give us a reason why?
Well, there's a few players who have stood out to me. Actually, Joe Rankin, Costello stood out massively. Smodic, Hyam. I think for me, it's out of one of them three. I think it's very difficult to choose between the three, but I'm going to go for Hyam just because he's come in, had some big boots to fill as Darren Lenihan's replacement, because I thought Lenihan was a top quality centre back for us, and then he moved on for free and gone to Middlesbrough, and I thought it'll be really hard to replace him, but in my opinion, Dominic Hyam has done better than Lenihan has. He's chipped in with a few goals. He's improved the back line massively. He's got great communication. He doesn't feel the pressure when ball's at his feet, because we do this passing about stuff all the time from the back. It gets really nervous at times. You sat on your seat watching it and you're like, oh, don't do this, because you think you're going to lose the ball and concede, because it has happened now and again. But he just looks really like a solid centre-back. I can't remember him having a bad game for us. He's always put in at least a decent performance week in, week out. So Hyam's going to be my player at the season, probably followed by Costello, because Costello's come in after talks of loaning him out and just been really good. But I think Hyam just beats him there for me.
Okay, yeah, good. Of course, he is. I put in the bracket of a candidate. What about you, Denver? What's your who gets your gong for the player of the year?
Tyler Wharton, for sure. No, look, like Lewis said, I think those three, and I would have probably gone for Hyam, but just because Lewis has gone for Hyam, I'll praise Joe Costello in the fact that look, I think even we were on a podcast and saying how, we think his days were done. This was just before, I think, the January transfer window. We thought he was going to go on and move on. And we were like, oh, Britain's so comfortable in that position. He's made it his own. And then look how things can change. One injury later, you've got the likes of Juraj Casilda coming in and making just a huge performance, winning the balls, driving it forward, being skillful. I'm just thinking back to that bit of skill. Who was it against? I can't even remember now. It was in the corner flag, and he got through a few players, and then Galley put it away.
Yeah, it was a recent game.
QPR.
QPR, that was it. Yeah. He's just been unreal the past 6 months. The only thing that I'd give it higher was just because he's been so consistent through the whole season, and he's deservedly got that Scotland call up. And Hyam's just he's been immense for us this year. Like Lewis said about Darrell Lennon, but not just Darrell Lennon. We lost Van Heck as well, who was ridiculous for us. So those two gone, and Dominic Hine comes in and has been, he's not put a foot wrong, has he? And been comfortable and led the side when Travis wasn't in the side. He was our captain, and look, he's been fantastic. So yeah, honourable mention to go to the likes of Ainsley Pears as well. Coming in, or when you sat on the bench for God knows how long and having to come in. And to be fair, look, as a second choice goalkeeper, I don't think you can get a lot better. How many goalkeepers want to just sit there for 3 years, behind a goalkeeper, and then when you are called up, he performs, fairly well, I think. So, when you look back to Luke Weiler and stuff like that, you take Ainsley Pears. So, yeah.
Look at Alex. Looks like we're not alone, though. Look, Jamie Jansen Hyam is the player of the year for him. And he's also quite excited about Adam Wharton. Could be a really good talent. What about Jacob? What's your take on player of the season for you?
Yeah, likewise with the rest, I'd definitely say Hyam. I think he's probably the only player in the squad who's been consistently brilliant from start to now, other than the Burnley game, which no player that day can say they played well. I don't think there's any other player, to be honest with you, who's been that consistent. But I'll just touch on Diaz. Obviously he's not going to be our player for much longer, but another brilliant season. Obviously he's gone through a bit of a barren spell, didn't he, from November to January, February, until he scored again. But other than that patchy spell he had, he's been brilliant, getting the goals, and you take him out of this team and we wouldn't be where we are. Ultimately, we are a team that hasn't dominated games by any means this season. It has been a lot of 1-0s, 2-1s. And when you're winning games by such fine margins, it makes players like Diaz that even more special and important. We are going to miss him when he's gone. Someone desperately needs to step up, and I'm not sure if Sam Gallagher is the man. But I guess time will tell. And he will go on to bigger and better things, I'm sure. And let's just hope he can get to 20 goals again for the season and be taking us to the playoffs.
Yep, I'm going to put a big special mention to Sammy Smodic as well. I thought he's come in, filled the void from Dak. Give him some competition, maybe even to step up his own game. I thought we would all be going for Sammy Smodic, but no, Dominic Hyam, of course, has been a rock at the back and massive. He also had massive shoes to fill, like Lewis said earlier, with Darrell Lennon moving on to what he thought was better. Well, he might have made a good move in the end if Middlesbrough get over the line, but Dom Hyam's come in and done really well. So now, what we're doing now, we're gonna go back around the house. Alex, you are in on this. I've kicked myself out of this, but I'm going to go around the room, starting with Lewis. You're up here. These are our next 5 games here, Lewis. So you're going to go and give me your best pick of possible 15 points on the card here. What do you think we'll pick up over those 5 games?
Some quite tough games on there, isn't there?
There is.
Norwich, Huddersfield, Coventry, Preston being the tough games. I'm gonna say 9 points. I reckon we'll beat Hull, beat Preston, and I'm going to say beat Norwich. I think Coventry, we usually struggle against Coventry. We usually draw against Coventry quite a lot, or we lose. I remember, I think we were 2-1 up last season, bottled it in last kick at game to make it 2-2. I think we did the same at home, 2-0 up, made it 2-2. Huddersfield away, I think their fans are going to get behind them, so it'll be tough. But I reckon 9 points, and I'll be happy if we got 9 points with out of them 5 games.
Okay, moving on to Denver. You're on the spotlight now. So Lewis went for 9. What about yourself?
I'm going to go with a Rovers kind of way of playing. So I think we'll bounce back and beat Norwich. I think the way Huddersfield are playing, well, at the minute, I reckon it'll die down a bit. We might get a draw. Expected to beat Hull. Even though I remember last year they played really well against us, but we're expected to beat Hull. And I feel like we might lose to Cov and Preston. The only reason I think we're going to lose to Preston is just because so they're always a banana skin. And other than that one COVID season, that COVID win when we beat 3-0, they always seem to be a banana skin. And in that derby, so
got to remember last season as well, Denver. We smashed them last season.
Yeah, true, we did. But then they also smashed us this season as well. So, so I'm going to give 7 points, I think.
Just a 7?
Yeah. Of course, I want us to win all the games and whatever, but knowing us, I can see us going on a bit of a run and then losing 2. This is very, very Blackburn.
Yeah. Okay, Jacob, you're on the yockey now.
Yeah, I think looking at those games, I'd probably go with 9 points myself, like Lewis has done. I think we've got to beat Norwich. I think that's a very make or break game. Huddersfield will struggle. Hull is an absolute must-win. We cannot draw that game. Or obviously lose. We have to take the points there. Coventry at home will be a tricky game, but I think out of Coventry and Huddersfield, we've got to win one of those games. And then Preston away is a toss-up, really. It depends which Rovers turns up. The Rovers that turned up against them at home will get absolutely annihilated. But, I think we've come a long way since then. But it depends what sort of form we're in. You could, looking at these games, obviously leading up to that Preston game, we could be in a really rough spot by then. Our heads could be down, tails between our legs sort of thing. So I think out of Huddersfield, Coventry, Preston, we've got to win one of those, and I reckon we'll win. I reckon we'll beat Norwich and Hull. I've just got a good feeling about Norwich. I think we've got to bounce back. I think the crowd will be well up for it because it is such an important game. They're the team that's kind of hot on our tails, looking for that spot. So I've got guaranteed 6 points there, and I reckon we'll win one of the other 3.
All right. Of course, Alex on the road, but you take my spot now. What do you think out of these 5 games?
Oh, well, I'll go with an optimistic 10 points.
Ooh, nice.
Just because, yeah, I want to be optimistic, so I'm gonna be. Yeah, I like to think we've got the measure of Norwich this season. So I'll put that down as a win for us. Hull, yeah, I like. Well, obviously, I want us to win them all, obviously, but I think we'll probably, hopefully, win the whole game, win that one, and Preston's going to be tough, definitely. But yeah, I'm going for another win somewhere, so I'll probably go for the Preston one. Hopefully the passion will see us over the line for a win. And I see us drawing either the Hull game or the Coventry game. Not Hull. What am I talking about? Gone crazy. The Huddersfield. I see us either drawing the Huddersfield game or the Coventry game, and losing one of those 2 for some reason Coventry seem to get the better of us. So I'll go with us. I think we'll lose to Coventry for some bizarre reason. And hopefully we get the draw, at least a draw with Huddersfield to take us to 10 points.
Okay, well, let's hope you're right. Coventry on the back of a bit of a spanking by Stoke yesterday. So, and that was at home. That was at the Rico. So maybe they might have burst their bubble or something like that. I'm going to try, and hopefully I can do this and show you the current state of play in the league table. If I can, how do I do that? Then I'm gonna go like this. We're gonna go share this bad boy. Okay, should be there. We go on the screen here. So currently we find ourselves in 6 spots. We do have a little bit of a gap, 4 points clear of Norwich and the chasing pack. Once we went live, I did look at that a little bit more in detail. And you've got to keep an eye on number 9 here, West Brom. They do have a game, same sort of position as us, game in hand. They win that. That's on 59 points. So we can look at that 57 and go, okay, we're 4 points clear. But really, we've got to keep an eye on those baggies because they in a similar position to us, of course. So currently, of course, the Freaks down the road are running away with it. And I don't think there's any question about that. I think they can actually seal promotion on Friday. Take it on Middlesbrough, beat them. Yeah. I think they're confirmed as back. Sheffield United, of course, doing themselves no harm. Beating Norwich did us a favour as well, and with Middlesbrough losing as well. So what we're going to do now, I just want everyone to have a quick look at what it looks like, the table, and then now we're going to go back to this picture, and then I'm going to stop sharing that, and we're going to go back into this. We're going to go around the houses one more time, but we're going to do everyone's take on the top 6 or something like that. So we're going to go here like that. Bam! Lewis. So you're under the okay. I've put 9 teams up there. So I want you to give me your top 6 and starting from first all the way down to 6. Lewis, you're up first. You got number 1 or you got number 2, blah, 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 blah.
Unfortunately, I have to put Burnley at the top. They could win the lead on. they can win the lead on Friday. If Luton don't win, I have to. I'm afraid they're walking it this season. And then I think probably top 2 is going to stay out. Is so Sheffield up in second. They've got such a good fan base, and I think we've touched upon it a few times. At Bramall Lane, it's a hard place to go to. We've lost quite a bit there, Jacob was saying. I think his last 3 appearances. And they've hit form as well. They've beat whoever they played, Norwich, over there. So I'm going to have to put them there. And then I'm actually going to go with Luton third. I think Luton have the ability to grind it out. We've seen them a lot of times grind out the games, and they deserve to be in the playoffs. They've just had a really good season, and they know how to grind teams out and stick to the game plan. And then I'm going to go. Who do I go for 4th? Middlesbrough. I'm going to go Middlesbrough 4th. I still think they'll get playoffs. They're 3rd at minute, but after the spanking against Huddersfield, I can't see them bouncing back too highly on that. So I'm just going to stick them 4th. And then 5th, I'm actually going to go for us. I think Millwall's going to fall off a little bit. So I'm going to put... I think Norwich will get 6th position. I think Millwall's going to fall off a little bit because I don't think they have the capability to make the playoffs. Millwall, they've had a great season so far. I'm not going to take that away from them, but I don't think they have the capability of making playoffs. And then Norwich know how to win games. They've actually underperformed a lot if you look at the squad and their capability. Pretty sure they've had a new manager come in this season at some point as well. But but I think Norwich are too good of a side to miss out on the playoffs. So I'm going to say that's my top 6. Going to make it that.
Okay, nice. Now we're going to flip over to Denver. You get the same go at this. I want to see if there's a bit of spice, a bit of variety in yours, but go for it. You're on the hockey.
Blackburn Rovers top. I mean, I think Burnley are going to have a minus 100 point deduction, so it's 24th an option there.
Right,
unfortunately not.
Anyway, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think the Dingles have to go top. Because they've been ridiculous this season, and annoyingly, they have been really good to watch. Which has been like the one thing that, as Rovers fans say, like we might be a division below, but at least we don't play hoofball. And now they actually play good football, so I can't even say that. But anyway, second, I think, it's tough, isn't it? I think Middlesbrough, just because they're just flying through the division at the minute, aren't they? And Sheffield United, as much as they'll do all right, I think they'll just slip up a few more times before, and like we could have potentially beaten them against that FA Cup, and we did beat them earlier on at home. So I can see a few more of those slip ups coming from Sheffield United, where I think Middlesbrough they might have lost them against Stoke, but they'll click right back into it. Middlesbrough. Third, I'm gonna go with Luton. I'm going with Luton Town. I think they're just, since Nathan Jones decided to go to Southampton for about 20 minutes, they've just gone on leaps and bounds. They've just got even better somehow from their the shithouse football that they were used to play, but now they're actually playing some good stuff, and I think they'll cement themselves further into the playoffs. So now this week it's tricky. I'm going to go Sheffield United 4th.
Wow.
It could easily be Luton 3rd or 4th, and Sheffield United. I could have put them anywhere in there, but I think Sheffield United have got enough to. They could easily come second as well. It's the Championship; like anyone could go anywhere. But Sheffield United 4th. I'm going to put. I can't see Watford, Norwich, or West Brom really getting back into the mix. So it's between us, Millwall, and Cov. Do you know what? I'm going to put Cov 5th.
Really? Wow.
I think they've got one of the best strikers in the league at the minute. He's on fire. And they're just flying. I know coming back from the international break is always hard to judge, but I think they've just got up about them. And like I said, I think they'll beat us because it's a very much a banana skin game for us. And I think if we could get, there'll be so many teams coming for the striker there. I'd love to get our hands on him. Him instead of Sam Gallagher, or with Sam Gallagher would be quite something. And then, do you know what? I'm gonna put us 6th, even though part of me thinking Millwall might sneak in. But I'm gonna believe we'll hang on to the end of the season.
Yeah, so it would be if we were to somehow fluke it and get Premier League, that guy Orkes fella would be a good bit of business. I'm just prepping something here in the background, so just hang in there. We're gonna divert a little bit. We're gonna go to Alex first. So Jacob, take a minute. So we're gonna go to Alex. You're on the hockey now. I'm curious to see where you will go.
Do you want sensible?
Who's that in the background? When the car's going off.
Telling you to leave, Alex.
I think they're telling me to go. I need to go soon.
Anyway, get cracking.
All right.
Tell him you're busy.
Oh yeah. All right. I'll go for sensible. Not parallel universe. Unfortunately, because parallel universe would be a lot better. This one. Oh, I'll have to put number 1. Yeah, Burnley. Hooray. Number 2. I think for some reason I think that Sheffield United's recent Premier League experience will get them into 2nd.
Okay.
And then I just think Middlesbrough look a bit good. I think they got a good squad. they've got goals in them. I think Darragh Lenihan is bound to annoy us by doing better for them. So I'll put them in third. I think he'll carry on like that. But thanks for the own goal. And then
technically, apparently.
Oh, was it?
It was. I remember.
He's got to claim everything, Gallagher, even if it's.
You claim that on goal
nowhere near it. So 4. Yeah, 4. Probably annoying Luton. I'm finding Luton really annoying. So yeah, they're probably 4th. They're grinding out. They know how to get results. I don't know how they're doing it, what black magic they're using, but it's working. I'm not being racial. 5. So 5. Number 5.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh sheesh. This is tough.
It's not easy. It is not easy.
My heart says Rovers for 5th.
So
but I'm not.
You're not putting them there, no?
My heart has been wrong many times. Okay. So I'll put Rovers 5th.
Okay. Wow.
And then 6th. Sheesh. This is the toughest one. It's really tough. I don't think Millwall have got quite enough. And the others are not showing enough. The only team out of those that I can really see doing it, probably, well, Coventry probably. I don't know. Norwich are just not delivering. So I'll go Coventry.
Coventry, okay, that's a surprise. That's it's good to see the different perspectives here. Hang on a minute, I'll be right with you. Where are we? Jacob, you will now be next. You're on it, on the spotlight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Parachute Payment FC number 1.
Yeah, that's a given.
Norwich, right?
Hopefully a nice embargo to come in the Prem. Number 2, I will stick with Sheffield United. I think Middlesbrough, obviously they drew that game at home against Stoke, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Stoke, really good form right now. They could be an Aston Villa, Dirk. They could squeeze the way they play.
I'm worried about Stoke. Yeah, they are playing really good at the moment.
They've been brilliant since the World Cup. I think it'd be a step too far. Like, it would be amazing if they somehow made the playoffs, but yeah, I can't see them doing it. But Aston Villa managed it, so you never know. But yeah, I think Middlesbrough are starting to drop off a little bit now. Obviously, you can't keep up that such good run of form for that long, but I do still think they'll get 3rd. I think that they're obviously a quality team, and he's doing wonders there, Carrick, to be fair to him. There's been a few rumours of him maybe leaving for other jobs, so I couldn't see him jumping ship this late in the season. 4th place, I would go Luton. I think Rob Edwards is doing a really good job there since he's joined them. They'll just grind out victories. I wouldn't be surprised if they come to Ewood and did one over on us. They're very much our bogey team. Absolutely hate playing Luton.
Yeah.
They're just a horrible, nasty side. And if we were to get them in the playoffs, I would not feel confident at all. 5th place, I shall go. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna put us 6th because I cannot see us finishing 5th. I'm gonna put us 6th. I think we will scrape it, and I think just looking at the running, it just makes me really worried, because you look at the teams we've got to play, and in the reverse fixtures, we've not done well at all. You know, obviously we went to Coventry, we lost. We lost at Luton, we lost v Burnley, we lost v Preston. You know, Norwich, we've beat them twice, but it's still a tough game. You know, we've got and we've still got Millwall to play as well. We've got some really hard games.
We have to play 5 of this lot in the final 8.
It's bonkers. But I think I don't know. I just hope and pray, and I think we'll just manage it. I think this could be our year to finally break the curse and actually make the playoffs for the first time since relegation from the Prem. Thinking about the teams we've had over the years is just mind-boggling. But yeah, I think we'll finally do it. I'm not sure. And now I'm not sure really about 5th. I think I'll go. I don't think anyone's actually put them in their top 6, but I think I'll go Watford. I think Watford just have so many quality players. They could just turn it on. They've got Wilder. He's just come in, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You know, give him a bit of time, and obviously may just click for Watford. You know, they've got obviously some quality players with Saar and whatnot. There's absolutely no reason they couldn't just start stringing some victories together, because their team on paper is for this league. So yeah, and Wilder is one of the best managers in this league as well. Despite how poor he was at Borough, it just weren't a match, but could very well work at Watford. Don't think Millwall have enough. I think they're a bit too negative away from home. I think they rely on the Den way too heavily. Yeah, I just fancy the other ones for some reason. So yeah, I'd fancy us, you know, as well in the playoffs against Middlesbrough. We've got such a good record v Middlesbrough in history. I think they're the team we've actually beat the most times out of any team, Middlesbrough. So I'd actually fancy us against Middlesbrough, and then I'll take Watford in the final if we were to beat Middlesbrough, just not Luton.
Well, okay. Well, this is a quick recap of everybody's take on it all. There, everyone has opted for Rovers in there in one way or another. But I would have put probably Burnley top. I think Middlesbrough will get. I was going to say we're going to get second, but after yesterday's calamity, they probably won't get it. Sheffield United, I think they can be a little bit distracted with the FA Cup, but I think the gap now is too big, and I think Sheffield United will take it. Borough will be third. I'm going to go with Luton in fourth, Rovers sixth. I'm going to go sixth, but I think West Brom. I think you know, Carvajal has done a fantastic job. Getting them back. They might be a little short now, but they do have that game in hand, which will close the gap to 4 points, or maybe even less than that. And I just think I have not looked at their running, but I think if the real Rovers show up, and considering we have to play, did I say five of these last games against this 9 teams that are in the mix, I think if we can pick up some good results, take points off of them, then we might just do it. But it's going to be a tough old slog one way or another. Okay, we are getting close to the 90-minute mark, which is, of course, the sweet spot for these podcasts. So we're going to go with Alex on the road, closing comments about, Rovers build up to a big Easter weekend.
I'm not driving.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. But Easter weekend, 2 big games, Norwich, Huddersfield. What do you hope to see from those games? Anyone you want to see step up their performances? What do you got for me? Anything at all?
I'm going soon. Sorry. Yeah. So I just talked to someone. All right. Yeah. So. Good Friday. Will it be Good Friday for Rovers fans and Rovers players and everyone related with the tea lady? Will it be a good Easter Friday? Let's find out. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. There, short, sharp words.
Yeah, I believe I like optimistically. I'm going with hope on Good Friday. I'm going with that. We've got the measure of Norwich this season. So why not do it again? We've had good results against them. There's got to be some belief there when they're facing Norwich now. There's got to be like, we remember these guys in the yellow, bright yellow, and we remember how this went. We can recreate that. We can do it again. Just relive it, guys. Just do it again.
As easy as that.
Just like that.
Yeah. Just like that.
All right, we'll move back to Lewis. Lewis, what do you think about Easter weekend, big weekend? Who do you need to step up for Rovers' point of view?
I think Geiger needs to step up his game after the weekend. I would probably want to see Dak and Smodic both start. Maybe put in Smodic a little bit deeper into like that Rothwell sort of role, because I reckon he's got the capability to do that as well. Against Norwich on Good Friday, I think there's only going to be one goal in it, and I think it could go either way. I can't see it being a goal fest, but like if we go 1-0 up, we tend to win the games. I think it's only one game or two games where we've actually gone 1-0 up and not won, which is one at best in league. I think it is the best on average for when we do go 1-0 up, we can hold the lead. But I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say we'll get the 3 points against Norwich on Friday.
Okay. What about you, Denver? Will you be there? That's a question I want to throw at you.
I mean, I was meant to be, but then I feel like now I'm going to be coaching against Stoke City Academy. So I might be in Stoke, but if not, I can worm my way out of it somehow. I'll be at the games. The plan was I was meant to be, and then because I was meant to have a fixture on the Saturday against one of the local teams around here, but then Stoke came up out of nowhere, and I was like, I'm meant to go watch Blackburn Norwich. But regardless if I do go or not, I think it is a game where we can win, but I'm sure Norwich are thinking the exact same thing, and they think, look, this is a massive, how many points, we've beaten Blackburn how many times? Of course, this season we've lost twice to us, but I think like Alex said, we've done it once before. Let's do it again, innit? And hopefully the lads can do it. But look, we've got the capability to beat them. We know we're good enough, but it just depends what Blackburn team turn up on the day. If we get a horrendous team, or we've got the one that we've had for the past few weeks, and just put the ball in the back of the net and hope for the win. But I think we'll win. I think we'll win. So I think going back to the predictions of the top six, I think Lewis put Norwich in sixth spot. Jacob, do you think if Norwich lose on Friday, they're out of this? Or what's your take?
I wouldn't say they're out of it, but I think it puts a massive dent in their hopes. Obviously, there's still so many points to play for. As you mentioned, Dirk, it's huge games. Not only, obviously, we're playing 6 of those 9 sides or 5 of those 9 sides, whatever it was, in terms of taking points off those teams as well, and obviously hindering their chances of the playoffs. But equally, obviously, if it goes the other way and, we don't turn up in those games, it affects us even more. We got off quite lightly this weekend just simply because all the teams around us didn't really get good results, other than West Brom, who picked up a point, but even then, obviously at least it weren't a win. So we got away with it this week, but we do need to turn up now, obviously, in this game. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. I think said they'll get a goal. I think they've obviously got quality players and whatnot, but at home, I think we should just do the business. We've obviously been to their ground twice now, and we should have that mental edge, really. Like Alex said, just we've got that mental edge. Let's just go do it.
They need to think of them as big chicks. They're just chicks.
Big canaries.
Big canary chicks, and that's all they are. Okay,
that's all they are.
I tell you what, Denver, you need Alex to be your assistant manager with this.
Oh yeah, no. Do you know what? It would work wonders. It's made my day.
Well, I appreciate the words and wisdom from around the UK. Alex down near Woking. We've got Lewis in the heartbeat there. Jacob just on the perimeter, and Denver out in Wales. I'm in the USA. This has been the return of the podcast. I'm hoping to get another one in just before the Preston game. Ooh. So hopefully we can, because we've got the Burnley game and all that to look forward to, and it's going to be the whole spectrum could change between now and then. But I appreciate everybody coming in there. Again, if you're watching, subscribe, thumbs up, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're going to bow out from all of these. Alex, you look frozen, but you are still there. All right, take it easy. I'll see you all soon. But until then, I am going to bounce out of here. See you all later. Don't you guys go anywhere. And we are just about to bounce. Okay.